Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Please let me know if you can, so I can. Allison, oh jeez. Yes, Mrs. Chase, I miss you guys. I miss you guys. I miss everybody so much. I've been dealing with so much to take care of for family, uh, health, car, life, so many things overseas. Thank you, Derek. Thanks for letting me know. And Smith, thank you so much for letting me know that you guys can all hear me. All right. So tonight, I'm gonna for well first I've been away for a while, so I have to get my shoes wet. I have to get warm. Like Alice, time to give us the goods. Well, the goods is not gonna come into like a virgin of oh breaking news. We're squeezing tomorrow, or not that we ever did that, but exactly, obviously. But hold on. Let me share this. We're going to go over a few things that are. Let me share the window. And I had like problems with first the microphone. Then the stream itself was streaming to private. Then we changed it to public, the previous stream. Then it went from that to not even showing up. Like my whole Streamlabs was just going off. So I was destroyed. One moment. Sorry guys, let me just share this window. You could tell been away for a little bit. How's everybody been? You guys miss AB? There we go. Let me take AB away. Keep moving him around until you guys. No, I wish it wasn't technically like no vacation. I had a lot of things going on, like family, so many different things, personal life, overseas situations have required me to do to deal with. So yeah, no, all in good spirits. Not no vacation yet. All right. I miss you more, Mrs. Chase. So guys, I want to first like tonight we're gonna go over a few things to connect dots, like AMC with especially this Kevin Gallagher person and a lot of people. We gotta get to know. You guys all have to know who we're dealing with. First of all, shout out to the Massalorian and the Mike owning the float for a live they did last week. That was wonderful. I loved it. Of course, always shout out to Mike the Marine. That's my brother from another mother. A big shout out to CSI. Man, that guy doesn't tire. He's like a vicious pit bull around the clock, always covering. And they know who he is now too. The plaintiffs and the courtroom in Delaware and all that situation. So we're all rooting for my brother CSI, and we're all here for all support. Now, personally, for me, don't have any breaking news on it's like the lawsuit itself. Besides the fact that it's day to day, you got to keep going through where we're going through. We already did our part. Now we have to go through the rest. it's important to get to know our adversaries. It's important to see the connections. There's still a lot of people out there. I know that in the family here, we know that like we are more leaning toward the, of course, the whole no notion. And it's important for the others who still haven't waken up to also wake up to see, because we have our strength are in our numbers and our solidarity. How solid are we in the public image, you know, or against our adversaries? I'm gonna take some questions also throughout the live, so feel free to throw them in. This is the live to get my feet wet, to get back into the whole everything. We're gonna talk about literally almost just about anything and everything, but I'm gonna connect and explain a lot of things, a lot of people, as far as with the people that we're dealing with, what they're doing. Is there foul play? Are they connected to each other? Who are these people? Because a lot of people are just focused on AMC, and they're just dealing with looking at the stock price every day. That's it. But they're not looking at the background, what's really working behind the curtain, at least as much as we can look behind the curtain. Let's see. And right before I start, okay. So first, I want to give you guys a, see, look, all that crashed when I was trying to go live earlier. I want to give you guys an understanding first, so we can get the base very solidified. The shorts that shorts us, or those market watch, or all these companies, like the media companies that talk so much shit about AMC for so many years now, I want you guys to see how disgusting, at least of that, the model of that payment and how it goes. I want you guys to see like how they go about it. Like, there's so many alleys and loopholes that these people can go through, that ultimately gets what they want done. Through this live, I'm gonna get the thoughts as close as possible, or connect them as much as possible, so that I personally think that Antera is doing the devil's bidding. A lot of people look at Antera as in our community, they look at Antera as its own entity. You know, not a lot of people are thinking about the fact, or I don't want to say the fact, allegedly, that I personally think when I explain this stuff to you, I personally think that Antera is just doing bidding of others. And in the meantime, they also make money through it. So it's important to see that. Now, why does that change a lot of things? Well, of course, it changes a lot of things. If Citadel wants to screw over us, as we know they want, allegedly, and all these other shorts, why would it be better for them to do it indirectly while they're doing it, or right, like they have already established their previous positions, to stop the public unrest and like people going after them and seeing their every move? They can do it through others. And I personally believe that they're doing it through Antera. That's why you see those hundreds of millions of dollars put of a position, which is the largest technically of the of that firm that it ever has participated in. I mean, it's so large to the point where people will look at what's his name, Kaminshu, whatever his name is, Kaminshu Jalati, something like that, Antera's CEO. Just had it up here, and then who cares about his name? But I was looking at so many different things that is this. There we go. Here. Sir. Himanshu Jalati. When you see Himanshu Jalati, people, if they seen his, like on Wall Street, see his position the way that it is, there's no BS. If my thoughts are not correct as far as that this firm or capital, entire capital, is doing the bidding of the other devils, the people that we know or we're very acquainted with. If he's not doing that, then they will label him as the most crazy person in the world. You don't dump just about almost the firm, just about in that case, all on one stock, unless it's like a startup, even then you don't put all your eggs in one basket, just about. And they don't have all their eggs in one basket, but literally like majority, if not almost everything, is in that same basket. So what makes them, whether they're putting puts or calls, that's a risk that a fund or a capital or a hedge fund like Antara is willing to take to close his all his doors down. What if the stock gets yanked off the stock market? Let's say it got yanked off the trading platform and it's not traded anymore. Antara would literally get, I don't want to say a bad word on a live. We're just coming back. It's been a while, so I don't want to say any bad words. But Antara would be doomed if that's the case. So why are they putting such amount of huge position in something like this in one stock? Why so much interest? Why so much concentration? You like on Wall Street, that's just unheard of. You don't go as a CEO and put that much all on one stock, especially if it's a troubled stock. Of course, we know about how much money they're making on Ape and why they made that. But again, it's all part of the plan that I believe that they're doing. They're making their profits. And then on top of that, they're doing the bidding for the top dogs. Now, to understand that mindset, let's look at here. When we get Benzinga or Market Watch or Motley Fool talk shit about AMC or meme stocks for the past 3 years, what do they gain out of it? Well, look at this. I'll show you guys this. This is a live that I wanted to do for almost a month. You got Viceroy Research. You're probably wondering, like, what is this, AB? What is this Viceroy Research play? Why do I care about this? Well, this gives you the idea to understand the life of shorts and how they can go around things or can do things directly. How messed up is their model? So Viceroy Research is headed by these 3 guys. And these guys had so much bad history in the past. Even one of them was, there's 2 based in Australia, 2 Australian guys and 1 British guy. British guy was I believe I saw it here when I was reading in the past. Like, again, this is like a month. He was involved in some social. He was a social. Moving on. Then they start this research. This Viceroy Research is based in Delaware. However, they are all those CEOs. They're all based outside of the U.S. And on top of that, excuse me, I'm getting all these text messages now. They're getting all these. They're based out of the U.S., but they have an LLC in Delaware, so they can do things. And if in case anything happens and goes wrong, and they want to, if they get raided or whatever, these guys are outside the country. They don't get implicated for anything, and they have a shell company that takes care of them. They don't got to worry about doing no time or any of that stuff. Wicked, right? Now, these same guys, what they do, their model, if you go on Viceroy Research right now, before you go into this website, you'll be welcomed with a screen, like a disclaimer, similar to the YouTube's favorite phrase, I'm not a financial advisor. What these guys will do is say, we'll do in our research, blah, blah, blah. We're not saying that at the moment of our research, we might or could hold a position in that stock, or even a short position in the stock. They even give you in that disclaimer. And if you click OK, then you can go through the website. So it's so crazy and disgusting how to do it. But the disclaimer is so small and so faint, and like the letters are not boldened, like you barely can read it. So they just basically want you to press the yes and go through. Now, these guys have a situation going on their hands, most recently with these guys. Look, all these stocks that apparently they do research on and they put their reports out on. When they put the report out, they magnify it on the social media, and then they go ahead and use that sentiment to basically drop or perhaps pump the stock. But most notably, they are known for basically putting out bad research and reports, then eventually drops the stock, in which what they call in the stock market a poop and scoop. They dump, they already have a position at that point, they take a position, and then when the price drops after the reports and research, by however much the sentiment is, then they scoop up the shares to return them back to where they borrowed them from. Right now, they're going through a lawsuit with this company called MPW, right here, as of March 10th. Now, when you go and you see, like, their report was so ludicrous about them, MPW, we're getting to the good parts, by the way, with AMC and people who are connected within the lawsuit and all this stuff. We're going to see some of that stuff. So this is the lawsuit from MPT. And again, all of this is going to show you the bigger picture of how all these things around us that we are as AMC investors in the middle of, how all this happens to the in the model of the system that we're within. It's kind of like your ecosystem. If you're a fish, you're in the ocean. You do not, it doesn't bother you what happens on the other side of the ocean, but it does concern you because overall you live in the ocean. You know, sorry for that example. Can everybody see this? Or let me move AB out of the way so that people's, you know. Good. So now everybody can see AB. Let me see who's in here. Let me say what's up to my people first before I go through this and then go on from the stuff. Thank you, Khalil. Appreciate you. I miss you all as well. Shirley, how are you doing, family? Hopefully you and your loved ones and Adrian are all doing very fine and well. I'm glad to be back. And Mr. Number One Son, woot. Hopefully you're doing great. I've been away for a while and I now get back in. So we're gonna be pretty busy again to ramp up things because some things are happening in the background. I want everybody to be in their right mindset, in their right zen for what could happen here real soon. Thank you. Ron Sampson, how are you? Woot. All right. So now that I've seen that, now I'll go over here. So you probably have read this as I'm going through this already. But basically, the plaintiff, which is MPT, the company that we're talking about here, alleges that upon the knowledge as to itself and its own acts upon information believed as follows. This action arises the campaign to defame, injure, and drive down the stock of MPT, one of Alabama's largest public companies and its largest real estate investment trusts, REIT. Now, the defendant is Viceroy Research LLC here, the people that we were just talking about when we were on their website. And it's a member defendant, Fraser John Parent, Gabriel Bernard, and Aiden Liu, RN. Business of mounting serial short and distort attacks against public companies, MPT in their latest is their latest victim. The playbook for these attacks is simple. Look, like this is literally the litigation that is given out. Take a short position in a stock. This is where we put ourselves as AMC in the picture, like fill in the blanks here. Because yes, this might be MPT, but technically this also happens to us. So take a short position in a stock or partner with someone who has one. You see this? Publish false research. This is where Viceroy comes in, or Motley Fool, fill in the blank, Benzinga, all those shills. Published false research critical of the target company, amplify the false claims on social media. We're very big targets and victims of that, are we not? Tell me right here, family. Do we go through that or not? Is that something that we go through? What I just said on social media for the past 3 years. Haven't we been through all that? My answer is yes. You guys could probably tell me in here as well. Oh, look, owning the float. What's up, brother? I was just talking to owning the float on the phone a little bit ago. Owning the float is a big time shill. He makes and only invests in LMNOP. I'm just messing around. Much love, brother. Happy B-Day to the fam. And enjoy the festivities, brother. Nice to see you in here. So they take the short position in the stock, then they amplify the social media claims, then reap a profit either directly from the stock price drop you bet on and then or caused, or indirectly by collecting payments from other market players who profited on the drop. So let that sink in. So if they're not the ones who are directly taking the short position, and then when they publish this, so they can bypass some bylaws, hey, you can't have a short position and go and do this as an LLC. But even then in the US, the shorting laws are so amazing for shorts to the point where they just about don't do them anymore anywhere else on the globe except for here. I mean, in China, they have restrictions. For God's sake, in China, Chinese market. And everybody knows what the Chinese market is. But even there, it is a lot harder to do short and distort the same way. I mean, the US short market is like, for shorts, is like the wild, wild west. They can just about get away with anything and do whatever. And even if it's right in broad daylight, F you, what you're going to do. Literally. And we know all about that. We've seen all that for about 3 years. Crazy part. Oh, look, I peed in Kenny's pool. The best YouTube Twitter handle or YouTube handle or name just came in. How are you, brother? Hopefully you're in great shape and great spirit. And these guys, like even in Japan or even in Africa or in Europe, anywhere in Europe, shorting have been being dealt with. It's still a long way out, but there, or even in Canada, it is a whole lot more stricter than what it is like here. We're just going when they did this cry about the banks being shorted, you can't short them and all this stuff. No law was passed. Nothing was changed. This was just a public outcry to make it seem like, okay, hey, or possibly an attempt to tell the shorts like, hey, stop what you're doing right there. But I don't think that's the case anyways, because again, when you have lawmakers who are taken, like I could take you guys back to see how in 2008, how lawmakers were making so much money based on the news that they knew that the market was going to get hammered and drop. A bunch of representatives or senators were all jumped in, piled up on short positions, and literally like days or even a week before the stock market crashed. Want to tell me it's perfect timing that they just were like perfect traders? Well, we all know the Pelosi case and Pelosi rules and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, this is what these people do. They know ahead of time, but yet they're able to go in and open up short positions or even make positions on stocks that they know are directly going to go up just because of something that they know over everybody else, which is obviously insider trading. Can go ahead and claim it. Just about every state representative, you can pull out one, and we can look them up online right now, and you can see what they're involved in. They're all corrupt. They're all dealing with all that shit because they make more money from the market, from their positions. I guess that's why they fight for these elections to get elected, because that's their way into the honeypot. So they could get in and obviously trade and make money, because they make a whole lot more money trading than lawmaking. unfortunately. So yeah, so here they as you can see, they partner up with somebody. So Viceroy could be either the short, like Antera, could also be the Motley Fool, who Citadel or somebody else allegedly could pay to make these research and amplify them on social media and all this stuff. The price drops, Citadel closes or opens up a particular short position, then closes, or any other short, and then they pay Viceroy their cut and say, here you go. Thanks. It was nice doing business with you. And if anything happens to these guys, to Viceroy, like something that they were going to get crashed down on or doubled down on, then you'll have them being all outside the country. They're protected behind LLCs in the LLC in Delaware, and nothing will happen to their wealth or nothing will happen to them as far as criminal. They'll just be, okay, shut this LLC down. Let's open up a new one. So Herring, a self-proclaimed Grand Puya of short sellers, entered the distortion game after British regulators revoked his social work license. This is the guy I was telling you about what he did. Upon finding that he had lied and fabricated evidence, Herring founded Viceroy with Bernard and Lou in 2016. These are the two other guys that are out of Australia. And the firm has become notorious for short and distort schemes. In 2001, for example, a South African regulator fined Viceroy members millions of dollars for spreading false and misleading claims about a South African bank on behalf of a hedge fund that was trying to drive down the bank's stock price. Defendants escaped justice. However, when a tribunal vacated the penalty for a jurisdictional defect, so basically they just about basically escaped what they had to go through. They didn't really go through anything, but they were convicted. They didn't go through anything. Short selling is not illegal in the United States, and the criticism of public companies is integral to our capital markets. Of course it is. Nor it is illegal to couple short selling with criticism of a target company, provided the speaker does not deliberately or recklessly misrepresents facts for profit. But Viceroy does not play by the rules. We know that it's not just Viceroy who does this. We know that it's a lot and many more people who does this. Hey, Common Sense, what's up, brother? How are you, brother? I enjoy your late night lives. We gotta do a live whenever. I got my Restream software, and I always have like a collab cam feature that I could dabble with. And like send out. I want to host all you guys. I think get up to 11 people at the same time. So maybe it's time to get the Fabulous Five or the Amazing Five, whatever our name is, or 6 or 7 or 11, or maybe the whole community all at once in one live. But continue the great work, brother. I know that you're giving them a lot of hell, CSI. You're giving them a lot of hell, and we talk about it, and we see that in the text messages. So keep on keeping on. Much love, brother. Thank you for showing the love, CSI. Now we jump away from Viceroy. Now that you understand the base that I'm trying to get to you guys as far as what Antara could be, as in like why they have hundreds of millions in AMC, why that much consolidation and all this stuff. They could easily be, as you can see in this case of Viceroy partner up with other shorts to reap profits or to make its own short positions and profit out of it, and from short and distort or poop and scoop in layman terms. You can see that Antara could easily be that. Now, why could that very well be the case? Even you guys have seen not too long ago when this guy Himanshu Jalati, I had this tab and I closed it somewhere. He has a project, or he has a separate company where he works with Alex Rodriguez, the ex player from baseball. And this guy, everybody's seen the article that they bought something from Ken Griffin. Right there. This place. It's called What is that? I don't want to sign in. We don't want to sign into LinkedIn. Here you go. So A-Rod is the chairman of this A-Rod Corp. And they have all these like trustees. They're based in Florida, blah, blah, blah. And he partners with this, hey, Bob Loco, Captain No Likey. What's up, brother? Nice to see you guys. Yeah, he definitely would look good in prison stripes. He definitely would. One second. Somebody's saying it's fuzzy. Is the picture fuzzy, guys? That's weird. Because my picture isn't on. This is just sharing the directly. This is directly from the website. But is everybody else seeing it like weird, like fuzzy and stuff? Fit the screen. Here. How about that? Is that better? I want people to see it perfect. All right. So he partners up with Alice Rodriguez, and they buy this house or this major mansion from Ken Griffin. And let me pull up the article so we could go over what exactly happened there. Right there. So they buy this, like the King Griffin sells them this waterfront Star Island property to A-Rod. Frankie Muhammad, assalamu alaikum, brother. I'm so happy to see all my family like all at once, almost in one night, in one setting, in one place. I'm glad to see you here, brother Frankie. And I'm watching your stuff behind the scenes as well. So keep on keeping on, brother. You're a real loud voice and an integral part of our community. So keep on keeping on, brother. And Ron Sampson, I'm glad that you do. It's much better now. Show love to brother Frankie as well here, guys. So yeah, so King Griffin sells this waterfront Star Island property to A-Rod, right? But it just says A-Rod. That Himanshu guy, where is he? Oh, we took him off. That Antara CEO is also in on this whole thing. So if you want to even go through reading it, sold a lot of 14 Star Islands, but they sold it at a big discount because it was appraised at 44 million. He sold it to them for 24 million. And we know that in these times, yes, you do. And he's selling a lot of property, by the way. Just the other day, King Griffin sold another floor in New York in one of these fancy, whatever, sky-rise buildings on floor 9 or 11 or, whatever the heck. But yeah, so like he keeps selling these and keeps making all that money hand over fist. But what they don't say in this article is that the person that Alex Rodriguez is partnered up with this is not just a straight up sale to one person and just for that person. No, this is a sale for the company that A-Rod has going that is partnered up with the Antara guy. The Himanshu guy. Let me see if I can find that for you guys just so you can see, because that's kept under. Now, if we can see that the Antara guy, Himanshu, is partnered up with Alice Rodriguez. Alice Rodriguez and Himanshu buys the waterfront mansion at a steep discount from Ken Griffin. Antara has hundreds of millions of dollars in AMC related, whether in ape and common stock total together, puts and position, a big enough position to make them the biggest insider in AMC, or one of the biggest insiders in AMC. Stars obviously connecting in that case. Now we go even further. We still got to talk about these guys like the Wilkie and Galahar people. I mean, it's hilarious how everybody connects to everybody, and it's just so weird that everybody kind of knows this, but some people mask it so that people who are looking for things can just find what they want them to find. Here. There we go. You guys hear the bell? Again. So we have I closed that tab. You guys, we also talk about like the secret bailouts that were happening in 2019 and into leading into 2020 first quarter, second quarter, and then third quarter and fourth quarter. That's something that we'll talk about in a different live, so we can see how much bailout money have the taxpayer is paying out of their pockets, but it was kept behind closed doors because leading up to 2022, no one was allowed to know, and this is the weird part right here. No one was allowed to know what the Federal Reserve have, like nobody was given access to see what the Federal Reserve was given as far as bailouts, banks. The only documents that they gave out at that time, and I'm to go through this now to see, double check and go through and see if there's more things that were reported. The only things all the way leading up to 2022 that were reported were the first quarter of 2020, and it was a nightmare. There was billions of dollars that were already being rolled out to the major banks, before any, not, what the word is, C-19 was ever rolled out. So after that, they refused to give out any documentation as far as for Q2 2023 and 4 and 2021, all of it in general. So I haven't opened up to look under that hood all the way up till 2022. So it's interesting. Only seems fitting to look under that now and see basically where we land in that pie. Oh, that's about Kevin Galahar. We'll get there. We'll get there soon. CSI. This is also for CSI. This is the people that are going, like, that you're basically going to take care of. And, we got your back. And I know that you'll make easy work out of them. They're basically the biggest people and the most influential people out of Delaware, especially in the Chancery Court, which is Richards, Leighton, and Finger, PA, whose finger got caught somewhere else. I couldn't help it. I just had to do it. This is the guy that have sent this document right here. When you go to AMC, remember the affidavit that came out on the 28th of May of Kevin M. Galahar, blah, 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 in connection with defendants, brief and support proposed settlement. You go and open that and you see here, make it big so you can everybody read it. Can everybody see the documents good? So Kevin Galahar saying here, being duly sworn, depose and say, I am a member of the bar of the state of Delaware and an attorney at the law firm of Richards, Leighton, and Finger, PA. I represents defendants AMC Entertainment Holdings, Inc. Specifically, he represents these guys. Basically the board of AMC. Adam M. Aaron, Denise Clark, Howard W. Coe, which this is an important, like, look at that last name. Like, when you're looking at these people, you can't help but to see these last names popping up in other places that those places seem very odd, strange places that they're also the same last name is there. Different character, but the same last name. could there be, okay, you take care of me and all this stuff? Because this guy, William W. Howard Coe Jr., which we'll get to right now, he was like, I represent all of them. I submit this affidavit in connection with the defendant's brief in support of the proposed settlements. So basically, and then talks about the August 6, 2020 form of the 8K and all that. So he's representing them. Now, who are these guys? Who's this Kevin M. Gallagher? Before we go further, who's Kevin? First, you got to see here this company or law firm. It's called Wilkie and Gallagher, and it's basically that group that is a law group, and it's one of the biggest internationally. They are literally advising Antara Capital an investment and debt exchange transaction with Arrival. Now, the funny thing is, while Wilkie and Gallagher, we know that this guy here, and this is going to be a stretch, but watch this. Kevin and Gallagher doesn't work with Wilk. Now, Kevin Gallagher, again, same last name, with their same last name, different families. I don't know. I'm not used to that. I'm pretty sure the same last name means far out cousins or somewhere in the family tree, or who knows. Couldn't find exactly who they are to each other. It's just hard to find that. But he's representing Adam Aron and the board and AMC. Wilk is advising, Wilkie and Gallagher Capital. They are advising, here so you can see their whole name. I need you guys to see, not just Wilkie. Thomas Mark is their corporate. Here. Wilkie Farr and Gallagher board members. That's the people that are advising Antara. So they're advising Antara. This guy, Kevin, representing AMC and Adam Aron in Delaware. And as we've seen in this document right here, Howard W. Coe Jr., which is this guy. It's AMC's relations guy. He's called the Hawk Co. He's like a very established producer in the past, and like look at this huge resume of movies and all that stuff. Good for him, right? Now, once we go to Richard Lighton and Finger, the Finger people, which Kevin M. Gallagher is one of the directors in that. We look at all of them. We see them. Guess who we also see in here? Somebody called Rudolph Coe. This guy, could it possibly be that he's also related to this guy? I mean, I don't know too many Coes in the world, you know? I don't know too many Coes, but it looks like there's a lot of people that are, again, know each other. When you got this people here, Wilkie Gallagher, they got a guy who's on the board of Wilkie Farr and Gallagher executives, and we'll talk about them. One of their executives used to be, he's not on there anymore, as they say, but it was this guy right here, Kaplan. Do you guys remember this guy, Gordon Kaplan? He was on the board of Wilkie and Gallagher all the way leading up to the pandemic in 2020, when he was captured in that famous what was it called? You remember all those celebrities who were paying to elite colleges, Ivy League colleges, to get their kids in for like here. See, prosecutors recommended 8 months behind bars for Kaplan, former co-chairman Manhattan firm Wilkie Farr and Gallagher. Kaplan, who was pleaded guilty to honest service mail fraud, to conspiracy to commit mail fraud, also faces a fine of $40,000. The crazy thing is, I went through the case. He ended up spending less than 28 days. That's what they ended up calling him in there. And he went out of the scenes after he served those 28 days and paid like some stupid low amounts compared to the magnitude of the crimes that this guy did. But you guys remember it. There was a name for it. Does anybody in here remember the name of it? the famous situation that happened with all these people. They made a not Netflix documentary about it too as well. Put it in the doc in the comment section, people. If you remember the name of it, it had a name to it. Some scandal, something scandal. But this guy was their executive chairman, Wilkin Gallagher. Wilkfar and Gallagher, blah blah blah. Wilkfar and Gallagher. As if we go to Richards, Lighton, and Finger, who's representing AMC in this case. Remember, Gallagher is advising Antara. Richard Lighton is representing AMC in this. You got the similarities here of Root of Co. And then, if you see who else is in there, Kevin M. Gallagher. Same last name is here as well, same spelling, same everything. I don't know, again, if the same last name could be people from somewhere else, but last time I remembered, same last names means far distant relatives. But when you're in these circles of the higher ups, directors of law firms and all that stuff, you're not going to be like, oh, well, my third, fourth cousin that I've never spoken to. No, these people value the connections because it's what keeps them in the what do you call the iron net of power, because they all look out for each other. Now, Kevin is representing these guys in AMC and Adam Aaron and all these people. Now, if we look at these people, at Richard Lighton, you'll see here CSI, and this is what will make it so much sweeter when you hand it over to them. These people is home to the largest corporate practice in the state of Delaware, with a transactional team that handles MA mega deals governed by Delaware law, and they're like basically the rock stars in Delaware. Especially with they got so much reach within the chancery courts and all that stuff. So CSI, keep a close eye on Kevin Gallagher, and I would love for you to use your detective instincts, since you're hands-on with the case over there, to see if any favoritism is being displayed. From the Chancery Court, whether it's Zurn. Again, we would love, the way I approach things is I would love for Zurn to be the best person. My whole belief is in her. I wholeheartedly believe in her. But again, that doesn't mean she has to be what I feel about her. We don't know. Remember, there was a time where everybody trusted Adam Aaron. Look where we're at now. Look where that got us. So what I mean, as in, brother CSI, pay attention to see if there is any favoritism being displayed, because these guys have so much reach. And as you can see here, Delaware's largest law firm, and is one of the oldest, has been committing from its founding, helping sophisticated cases of, as you can see here, acquisitions, mergers, stockholder class actions, derivative lawsuits. These guys, and this is particularly the guy that you will be most likely also dealing with, CSI. I'll be watching for his name. Thank you, brother. I know once you got something within your eyesight, it's over. I know CSI. Once you got something in your eyesight, it's all over with. Because, again, this guy and these people think that they already got it cool. Okay, these people are attacking us with the settlement. They don't believe that and I haven't done any research on, what's their name? The people that are speaking on our behalf. Sorry, I got so much going on in my head right now. Allegheny. I haven't seen any connections yet. I haven't even done any research. I didn't have the time to go look into them as well on top of that. But I do know that once you see this guy, this is the guy that you're going to be paying attention to or dealing against or going against. The face of the enemy. Yes, brother. Yes, sir. This is the person that is representing these assholes. Um, on the other hand, while we were talking about Viceroy, let me delete that. Finally, I get to take that off. Those tabs have been on my tab for about almost a month, just because I haven't done that yet. Now, when you look on Wilk and Far and Galahar, the other law group that is representing Antera, or not representing, advising Antera, who are they also advising? What do they do? What do these people do? You'll be surprised to see. This is where it also, I mean, I know hopefully it's been interesting so far, but it will get more interesting as we go on with this right here. Because that, we just did Lighten and Finger with their fingers and shit. Now we're going to do Wilkie. An Arrival announced that is raising up to 50 million, blah, 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 blah. They're basically helping Antera in the Arrival transaction that they had, like, in the stock Arrival. But since they're advising him with that, who's to say they wouldn't advise him also to do things with AMC and all that stuff, because they're advising him already here. What else are they advising them with? Let's look at the news here real quick. Look, they also handled the bankruptcy case for Clovis. Not Clove. I know a lot of people think, but that's another meme stock. Do you guys remember Clovis? Where is that here? And we'll look at also in this today, we're going to look at the most latest filings of Antera into AMC and Ape. Let that news go. What's up, Gorilla Grodd? I see you in here. Before I show you who connects Galahar as they're advising Antera and how their connection to Citadel could possibly be, like, you'll see that. Okay, find that Will Galahar thing with them representing that Clovis situation. So while we're at this, where is she? From Zippia. That's me. Whenever I put my mind on something, I just have to see it. Show it to you guys. Okay. Right there. Let's pass. For swap dealers and future commission. See, this is all newer stuff right here. As I'm scrolling through it together, as we're all, what is that? LGBTQIA leaders named among, okay, good for them. See, we're doing detective work together, guys. Kissed, sure, law firm, SEC charger, investor, officer info. Oh yeah, with liquidity rule violations, this is something we'll talk about, guys. The SEC, when they charge the investment advisor with violations of liquidity rules, it's going to be so hilarious as to why and how they did it. And there's a lot of stuff here that I didn't get to see yet. Look, they're dealing with software AB. They're dealing with me. Now watch, somebody on Twitter somewhere is gonna put AB. We found him. He's connected to the whole thing. Hey, chill. Come on, where are you, Clovis? Hmm. If I can't find it here soon, then we'll just move on anyways. It's not the most important thing to our case. It's just about Clovis. How they basically, and we know Clovis went through bankruptcy proceedings, and they're the ones who brokered that. So it's crazy how these like meme stocks that are, or part of the meme stocks, yeah, it's not in here. Um, they're also, these guys have hands on, and these guys are one of the biggest like internationally known firms. They have like so many offices all over the world or the globe, even in general. But here's the funny thing: as I was looking into them, I found this chick. Her name is no, don't worry about it, Ron. It is what it is. It's just about Clovis. So I don't. Again, it doesn't matter to us much. It's just a statement about Clovis and their bankruptcy proceedings, and Wilkin Farr basically represented them through that, basically guided them through that. Um, Hanzo, much love, missed you too as well. So I found this Vanessa Tanaka. Okay, you're like, well, who's this Vanessa Tanaka chick? Well, Vanessa was the special counsel on Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher LLP from 2017 all the way to 2022. Guess where Vanessa Tanaka works now? If you said Citadel, I would have said you got that correct. So she's the associate general counsel at Citadel now. As of, it was like literally just in February or March of 2023, she became working with them. So let me get this straight. We got Wilkie Farr and Gallagher. They're representing or they're advising Antera. Antera holds crazy position in AMC. Antera and their owner, Himanshu, their CEO, has another company with Alice Rodriguez, and they buy some crazy waterfront mansion that is at a steep discount from Ken Griffin. Now, Oh, Wilkin and Galahar, their own council, their special associate council right here, special council, leaves and in March or February of 2023 joins, takes a position at Citadel, be their associate general counsel at Citadel. So while Wilkin Farr and Galahar is advising Antera, I can't help but to see the whole like the ecosystem of the circle going around and around, where everybody's got can connect through somebody to somebody. Now, this Wilk Farr and Galahar, the same people here with this guy from a different place in Delaware, different law group, representing Adam Aaron, representing AMC. Guys, I know majority of this could be much of a stretch. There's so much that is that matches, like so many different last names that matches. And if you know anything about connections and how the world works, and I know all of you do in here, this is how it goes down. If your own cousin is the head of whatever law group, you yourself, you have a son who's graduating, blah blah blah, from something, and their cousin is this. You don't think they're gonna pull strings for each other? You don't think they're gonna represent each other? You don't think they're gonna take care of each other? That's just the way the world works. But then to see this, like this random chick that I'm pretty sure no one have seen, don't know who this person is, and who knows, she's not, obviously she's not watching this live, but we might be able to reach out to her one day and be like, hey, Vanessa, I got a YouTube channel and I would like to host you on a live. Well, she's going to be like, what are you talking about? If she even responds, I want to talk to you about Citadel and like, what is it like to get that new job at Citadel? What it's like. I know they have this internship program now that apparently pays all these college graduates that they took just recently, like last week or this week, $5K a week for 11 weeks. And then now they have them all like doing a vacation in Florida on the company's expense. Like they want to show them that we are the big shit. Come work for us. We have the fancy life, and we'll pay you $5,000 a week, up to $5,000 a week. So seeing the position of Antera and AMC, here, let's refresh this to make sure it's all up to date. You know, as of yesterday, and I was at CSI's Late Night Live yesterday, and I was telling him about, like, you know, that yesterday they sold another 4 million apes. If you look here, guys, just want to show the receipts so that people won't be like, oh, I don't want, especially brother CSI, I don't want him to think that, you know, I'm just, you know, pulling numbers out of my, you know. But here, as you can see, they sold shares like 1.4, 1.3, 1.2. Add that up, you got 4 million shares that were sold or dumped on the market. As you can see here, this has been a consistent like thing for them. As you can see, they've been winding down their exposure to ape slowly and slowly. I mean, they still have 139 million and 122,084 shares of ape. Purposes, well, we have a lot of things. There's something interesting though that I was seeing in these files. It's important when you look at Fintel that you understand the codes. So this codes here, a lot of people look at the numbers, a lot of people don't look at the codes. So this is an S cell. Let's go through this together, people. When you got it's basically an open market. Here's an S cell, or private sale of non-derivative or derivative security. So basically, they dumped ape, 4 million shares of ape on the market directly, which obviously can negatively impact the stock price. This is why when they buy off the exchange, and we'll see through the codes right here, right now. Turkeys. Oh my God. Yeah, Gorilla Grodd. Yeah, the lawsuits against former employees, similar to what's his name, that guy on Twitter. You know, the guy who also talks about AMC all the time. He's pretty big now. He worked for AMC, and his whole ordeal was that he worked for Citadel, and he's seen the algorithmic trading and how it's unfair and all that stuff. I forgot the guy's name, but he's on our side. I know that. They also had a lawsuit against him, and they basically just got people, don't want them people to tell what exactly happens on the inside. This is when you're a terrible person. So we got all these codes. We figured out the S code, right? Now, when I'm looking through this, I couldn't help but to notice, and this is weird. Look, at least since February of obviously 2023, they sold 3.6 million shares of common stock. And I want you guys to see here. A lot of people point the finger at us as retail investors for ape dumping. I want people to go through something here. But you got to go back to August of 2022. And you have to see it in this layman terms right here that I'm about to tell you. When Ape was first announced, when Adam Aaron announced that they will be doing Ape, and it will be done, I remember it was like, I can't remember the exact dates, but it was in August, that if you buy whatever AMC shares you hold on record prior to such and such date, here, look it up so we could have it right here in front of us. We all doing detective work together, right? This is going to be important, guys. We'll get back to the Fintel because I found a couple of transactions that are kind of odd. It makes no sense. And you guys will see. Maybe somebody in here would know. Thank you, Pabloco. Dave Lauer. Yes, that was the guy. Ape-ish. See. I don't know why. TSI, every time I see this photo right here, I remember you. For a while, I think you had that as a Twitter handle. I think it's the banner on your Twitter, I think. Or on your YouTube page. I don't know. I've seen it somewhere around. Let's see. Okay. So they made the announcement. Remember when Adam Aaron made the announcement? It was in somewhere in June 2022, July of 2022. And then he said that, in the announcement, that anybody who holds AMC shares, whatever the amount is, you will receive a 1-to-1 ratio of Ape or preferred shares. There was time I was proud of that NFT. Well, you know what, brother? We'll always be proud about our investment and about what we're in because we got our money there, and obviously we put so much time and effort into this, years into this. We don't have to be proud of this guy that here. That's it. And again, to each their own. So funny if I go back into the archives of the AB Investments channel, there was a live where I went off on them back in 2022, like in the early parts of 2022. At the time, Adam Aaron was a rock star. And when I made that about him and the board, showing that they've been selling and they're shills and they're operating on the other side, instantly, I believe that live actually have harmed me or my channel, the exposure to many other people, more than anything else, because people at that time were like, no. So it was an incident of you were out of your time. It was ahead of its time. Now that, puts out a bang. But back then, you're like, oh, you're a shill. You're just trying to divide us and all that stuff. But I'll go in there again, and I'll show everybody that. So the meat and potatoes here. So basically, and this is why I want everybody to understand that it's not entirely on us, as in like retail investors, for why ape dropped so fast. Because people, shills, like to tell people that, oh, everybody sold ape. Well, if you look at this from this other direction, I might beg to differ. Because when Adam Aron and the board announced that ape will be awarded for each AMC share, almost a month in advance. That, in my humble opinion, you know what that was? That was a bullseye target that was put out. Like, and I will show you facts too. And I'll look it up now and I'll show you. I showed it in previous lives. I'll show you right now again to all of you. He's basically telling, hey, you shorts out there, not just you AMC holders, retailers, we're going to give out an ape on this date right here. On this date, if you hold this much AMC, or whatever amount of AMC you hold, by that date, you will receive an equivalent 1-to-1 ratio of a preferred unit, which, of course, I don't know this. CSI don't know this. Owning the Float doesn't know this. Mike the Marine, Donnie George, Frankie Muhammad, all the brothers, number one son, everybody does not know this. But we would like that it's like allegedly there could be, now looking back at time, back to back then, going back in time, they were possibly told that, hey, if you do this is the way to get back in, because that's what, in my humble opinion, personally, only speak for myself, the conversion is for. To convert all these ape, go load up as much ape as a short. Load up as much ape. And then you can take care of that afterwards when we reissue a proposal 4 months later after the issuance of ape, 6 months, less than 6 months later, to reverse stock it and converge it back with AMC, which, again, I can't, none of us can, for the most part, prove that that was, like, they had prior talks to each other. But I can show you where institutes, my humble opinion, drove the price of ape tremendously down, more than retail ever did or any of that stuff. Because, look here, let's see if I can find this quick. No, it's not going to be very quick. I had it on my other lives. This is interesting. Find this. So these people, family, like this AQR, and I know many of you have seen have been notorious for shorting AMC and being a short company. Now, second, let me find this. Now, these people, and I showed this in a previous live before, have loaded up. Let's see if this is the website. It's not it. Was able to find the dates They were basically right before. Oh yeah, this is their CEO, the Cliff Asness guy, and he was like talking about shit to us. Remember last summer, he was talking shit to us, saying, "Come on, I'm daring you apes to come short us or come after us. Yeah, we're shorting you." This same guy took. I was able to see their positions in AMC the day of. Is it? I think we can find it right here. Okay, good. Good. Okay. So as you can see here, guys, right here, look at this. Look at this date. Can everybody see this? Let me know if you can see this, please. Yeah, Gorilla Grodd, they lost millions, but not really. And you'll see how now. Can everybody give me like a thumbs up? Tell me that you can see these numbers clear, or I could make my page zoomed in a little bit more. Right there. Is this clear? This should be good. So look at this date, guys. This was the record date that we had, like before the record date that we had. 4 days before the record date of AMC, obviously, whatever shares you have in AMC Holdings. These guys basically they went ahead and bought 600,890 shares of AMC. That was the highest that they ever held. If you look down here, the most they ever held was back in 2021, 300,000. 300,000 of AMC shares, and obviously they were also not, adding more to them. They were selling from them and all that stuff. But 4 days before the record date, yep. I don't know why they put that to your. Okay, perfect. And 4 days before the before the record date went through, materialized, they loaded up with 600,800, roughly 601,000 shares of AMC. What do you think they loaded up for that for? Well, after they got their apes, look at that. Another filing shows that by November 14th, guess what did they do? They dumped all their shares that they purchased on AMC. Now, the funny thing is, they didn't dump in. This is when it was filed, but it was effective much earlier, which was back here in September 30th, which was after they got their fill of AMC. There was a time before the allocation of ape and how like the price differential took, because you got to remember, guys, $7 from each share from each holder was taken out to create ape, which is what was sold to Antara for $1.68 or 68 cents. Sorry, not $1, for 68 cents. So let that kind of sink in. Something that the company took, it cost them $7, or cost us in this case. It cost us $7 per share, because that was derived out of AMC. So hopefully I'm making complete sense to everybody here. It was $7 was derived from AMC per share. Create ape, derived, not free, not no dividend, derived from create that. And guess what? That same thing that cost us $7 a share, technically from each one of us, was given a market value, because when Adam Aron officially sold it for 68 cents, and continued to pile on, selling hundreds of millions of shares for that low amount, saying that we need to pay down debt and all this stuff, and still not answering to why not sell. And as brother owning the float asked him in a question with Javi the Great, as they said in his lives, I implore you guys to check him out as well. And his response is that Adam Aaron himself in his own mouth told him that they didn't sell when the stock of Ape was at 8, 9, and 10, and 7, and whatever, because they didn't want, they had already agreed amongst themselves as a board. There was no law. All these FUD spreaders that spread the fact that there was a law not giving AMC the chance to sell Ape ASAP. They had to wait. No, there's no law. They, as a board, agreed upon that. That was a terrible decision, because anybody with a sane mind will know that that was an extremely terrible decision. They waited. They've seen it drop. Whether you want to say that they knew that that was going to happen or not, it's up to you. But at least the facts shows that they did basically wrong. Mike on the float asked him, why didn't you guys sell? He said, we had already predetermined before the launch of Ape that we are gonna not sell it for at least an X amount of time. By that X amount of time in the parentheses, again, I smell bullshit when I see it a mile away. So to me, this is just me. You know, I can read through it. I've dealt with my fair share of corporate in this world, and I just can tell when bullshit is around, and that does not make any sense to me, as well as it didn't make sense to Mike for that to be an answer, or a business plan, a plan to go about, or how to go about this. Very extremely sus, of course, but that's something. If I'm a CEO and I know that I just cost every person $7, I derived $7 from each person's share price to create this preferred equity, so that the reason that we did this was to pay down the debt and our obligations. Then, so basically you were in a position where I can't get this wrong. Whatever I do here, I can't get this wrong. This is my last chance. And for me, that was Adam Aaron's actually last chance with me as a person to show basically his true colors. There was so many doubtful things. I've covered personally so many bad things and good things about Adam Aaron. That was the last straw, broke the camel's back. In this case, my back. and I literally was like, he's in the position at that point. You're about to take from me. I voted no against issuing extra shares, because just like you care about the company, you're getting paid millions every year, and you're getting bonuses and raises almost every year. You and that board. So he's not in the same boiling hot water as I am, or as all the investors are. It's important to know where you stand. You know, especially if lava is hot, or whatever that game is, the ground is lava. And when we see that, you know, he's not in that same boat, he's getting bonuses, he's getting all this stuff. You're literally taking from my share, $7 per share, to create this preferred equity, bypassed and went around. This is me speaking for me, guys. Went around to create this Ape preferred unit, do what you have to do for the company. And, you know, at that point, it's not like we even had anything to say about it. It was just announced and done, which is why we're in courts today, right? CSI, I believe in you, brother. We're all in it together. However, at that point, I had to basically mentally, is like, okay, we have to surrender. Like, we have to surrender that to the reality. The reality of the fact that they've already made this preferred equity unit is in motion. The record date has been made. As you can see here, for these people, they got their Ape. There's almost 601,000 shares of Ape. then turned around, dumped AMC before it dropped, before the evaluation of Ape was basically had materialized, so that they can keep their money and make their money on that, and then basically they loaded up on Ape. What did they do with Ape? It's so crazy that they're not allow reporting of Ape shares of sales and buys. It's weird, like how you see those buys. You can't go on like an AMC on Fintel, for example, and you put here AMC. You can't look up Ape and see what exactly, let's see here. I remember trying this a while back, and what exactly people are doing with it. You only see this. Like, oh, okay, they bought puts, blah, 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 common shares or preferred equity shares. So it's all under the same thing, but there's no full records of exactly who's dumping how much and who's buying how much at all times. Luna! John Goose, how are you? Yeah, they are eating steak and scraps. MP, what's up? So when you see these guys right here buying that much AMC, then dumping it, turning around to dump it so they could get the Ape in August, but the institutes have also, or even further, dumped Ape when it first got issued, after it first went up to $11. But it'd been possible that majority of them, I'm not saying that some retail investors didn't sell. Exactly. I know that many did. I know that many didn't. Many held, many even added. But who's to speak for these guys, for these hedge funds who received, when they piled up on AMC shares? I remember in that time, that's when in August, when AMC had its run, the shares, and then that got announced of preferred units. Then it was basically back down. That's when we was running to the 30s, if you guys remember that run. And it's important to remember the timelines. It's important to remember so you don't get lost on the map of how did we get here? What took us from here to the here? Where did we end up to get from here to here? Who's on this side? Who's on that side? Who's in the middle? All that is important. So could it possibly be that when these guys loaded up on 600,000 AMC shares, then dumped them right after they got their Ape shares? Could it have been possible? This AQR guys right here. This company. Is it possible that when Ape was first being traded and it ran up all the way to the 10s, and I remember it went over 10, that these guys made money hand over fist? Could it be that institutes dumped the shit out of Ape to cause it, that crazy sell pressure to bring it down? Because there is many YouTubers that I know, and I'm not taking any shots at any particular people, but there are many people that claim that retail does not move the market. Retail does not change the market. It's institutes that move the markets. So what moved Ape? Did it just wake up one day and say, let's go down to 68 cents? That's not an analytical and market take on things. And of course, as always, I never smoke my hookah when I'm with you guys. It's done. It's a waste of a hookah. But if that's the case, then if we're always advocating for the ideology and the perspective of that institutes are who move the market, then who got Ape down to 68 cents? Market conditions, the forces who means us harm that we don't know of. Quoting Adam Aaron here. Well, those forces are pretty evident right here. And even if retail have had a hand into the drop or the selling, then it's not, since they don't move the market, they don't move the stocks, it's pretty easy to see who dumped this down, in my humble opinion. Brought it down to 68 cents. The same thing that the company technically Adam Aron and the board have costed us each $7 a share to create. They themselves have devalued and sold for 68 cents. I want people to let that kind of sink in. I'm not riling up people or any of that, but this is something. This is how you evaluate something. If I take this mug and I say this is $5.99, even though it's heat insulation and it keeps your coffee hot, or water if you cold, it keeps it cold. So this is good. It's more than $5.99. But either way, let's say I put the price on this for $5.99, and hold on, you guys can't see the cup. You know why? Because AB is not on the But if I put this for $5.99 price, and then it's the equivalence of me going ahead and saying, you know what, the same cup, like it makes no sense for me to go ahead and go and create another cup like this with, you know, less qualities or whatever, and then sell it also that goes against my same stock. But in the same time, when I first drop it, I'm getting like a lot of people are interested in this mug. Oh my God, it keeps coffee hot for 3 days. Not that you want to drink coffee for that long or that old of a coffee, but you get the memo. I want to drink like this coffee stays hot for whatever's in it, stays hot for 3 days. People want to buy it and the price is surging because it's hot. That's when you sell it. That's business 101. You first drop a product and it's hot, take advantage of it. Clearly, they had this insight that him and the board, Adam Aron and the board, said that we're not going to sell any or dump any shares until we, we don't want people, again, they didn't say until what also, which is another weird part. Until basically what? The price of Ape dumps, which it did. Jumped down, the preferred equity units became 68 cents a piece or even lower at some point. And that's when he was evaluated to Antera, which explains why Antera would take a huge position at that point. Who knows who it's also backed by, because at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation for them. Let's see. CSI, it fell to 68 cents because AA asked the NYC to allow him to sell Ape under $1. Yeah, well, there you go as well, guys. Another amazing thing to think about, right? And again, it's always those weird unknown sources that means us harm. Here. Okay. I just had to, so I can see this, all the people in here. AMC Gorilla, we need a new CEO. Definitely. Don't forget that AA is retiring soon. Of course, Gorilla Grodd, he is retiring soon. And yes, like kind of similar to the president situation, where presidents, as when they go finish their terms, they always have one final thing, and it's always like their here you go wish, like fix, like the final order, and it's always a good one so that they could be remembered by it, by history. He's again, like he's retiring soon and all this stuff. He's been doing his damage. And again, who's to say that this evil or the next evil is not worse than the previous? The only thing I trust in is in the stock, the company, which the board members and the CEO Adam Aron does not own. I hate this notion when a lot of yesers out there, and I don't like labeling because I'm all for unity and love, and most importantly, like togetherness into moving to solve all these issues out there together, because that's what made us strong from the get-go. But there's people who have different agendas out there who push this narrative that you don't like this, then we'll get out of the stock. Well, the majority of these yesers, yes YouTubers, Majority of them have dumped, and this is my personal opinion, have dumped AMC shares so they can just load up on Ape. So they're very hypocritical, in my opinion, the point where they tell you to do this. Oh, if you don't like the board or the CEO, then leave the stock. Well, you left AMC to jump on Ape. If you don't like the fact that I'm representing AMC, then why are you getting on my case for? Go and open up an Ape channel. Am I saying anything wrong here? I'm speaking in the same values that they preach. I've been loyal to AMC since September of freaking 2020. Who's somebody to tell anybody to dump AMC or get out of their AMC position or whatever company or anything for buying or for being in something and don't like the CEO? I have a restaurant personally, and customers could come and say, well, I love the food, I love the restaurant, but I don't like the owner. Does that mean they don't come to the restaurant anymore? No, at that point, somebody has to give. Either I don't show my face when they come for whatever reason, they hate me, or we got to get that fixed. I haven't seen Adam Aron do that. Adam Aron just goes to his Twitter and approach and say, hey, you know what? We got the votes and all this stuff, but he hasn't addressed the no crowd. However way you want to look at us as or view us as, we're a big number. We're a big chunk. We're a huge voice. And if I'm CEO, I'm not moving another step until I address that, until I fix that. That's what a CEO does or supposed to do. Not wait for his, what's the best word here to describe? Not wait for his groupies to go out there and do his bidding for him and fight each other. A true CEO, a true leader, will not let the community divide like this if he means well. He will see that and he say, you know what? No, stop right there. We can't do this, blah, 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 and all this stuff. I need to fix this. By all means, this has to be fixed. What is it? Does it take for me to sit down with CSI? Does it take for me, if I was Adam Aron, I would be doing this. Does it take for me to sit down with CSI, Mike the Marine, all these people to show them that they are wrong about this whole notion that I'm corrupt and all this stuff? Yeah, if that's the case, then he should have jumped on it a long time ago. I would do that if I was CEO. If I mean well to my overall company, if I truly care about the company, I would have done that a long time ago. I will not let this vest within the community. In the same time, I will not be waiting for others to speak for me, do my bidding for me. Let these other people come out and start attacking each other, watch the community attack each other and all this stuff because of different agendas. He holds the answer, people. He holds the answers. And that's why he's trying to hide behind litigation, in my humble opinion, so that he can protect himself. So after he's retired, he can keep all the money he made and basically on the backs of all the people that were holding this community and holding this stock. Again, we always have to remember, there's no AMC without us. And yes, he made some good decisions in the past to try to avoid the full, complete shutdown, but it was not only in his best interest for that. I mean, he had to do that so he could keep a job, first of all. It's many other corporations who will stand to lose a lot of money if AMC was to shut down his doors. Then we happened. Without us, the miracle or the story or the movie does not continue, or there's no movie at all. And the best thing that in return was a smack to the face. And that's just the way I see it. You see what I'm saying, people? I see common sense. CSI is like I'm about to roll. Hold on. I gotta. Okay. CSI is a the moderator in here now too, so I could see what he puts. All right. So let's get some questions rolling my way, people. Roll the questions because I've spoken out of the heart, and we can go deeper into this. I can refer you guys to the other lives I've done in the past to show you exactly by date, by time, by moment, on the spot of what companies like this did, like AQR and all of them, how much money they possibly could have made on Ape when it was at the much higher ladder prices before it obviously dumped all the way down. Let's see what else I had for people. Oh, this is important. This is very, very interesting. Talk about bailouts to the banks because that's another live for a different thing. Treasury reports. It's very entertaining. Actually, hold on. We didn't finish with Antera yet. The special parts right here. So we figured out the S code, right? This is what Antera was doing with our shares. As of yesterday, they sold another on the market 4 million shares of Ape. And they've been, since May 22nd, they've been doing nothing but S sales on Ape. As you can see here, all preferred equity. Nothing to do with common shares or common stock. But you keep rolling down, all the way down to April 26. This is an interesting one. They added 1 million shares of AMC shares of Class A common stock of April 26. But it's an X code. You roll down, let's see, people. What is an X code? Believe it or not, there is nothing for it. Does anybody know in here what an X code is? How did they get these million shares here on April 26? What do you think, CSI? What do you think is an X code? Because Fintel doesn't it's not even in the code symbol down there. I would like to know. It's all about learning, people. I personally would like to know what is an X, because some way, somehow, just to add more to it, that code, the X code, has only been involved with Class A common stock. There was never an X situation that is involved in Ape. So what is an X? There's no, down here they tell you all the codes. There's no X. Anybody in the family knows? And help AB understand what an X code is? What does the X stand for? It's important. We need to know that. Because there is stuff like gifts, like tax write-offs. Like, for example, they will sell some of their position for tax purposes. And that has a code in here, which is, remember, it was like an S, I think? No, not an S, a D somewhere. Is it? Yeah, it's an F. So if anything is labeled as an F, similar to no F's in here. So they don't want to deal with that yet. So even if it's like something, so the X is there's 3 X's. The first one was on April 21st. The second one was also on April 21st, and then the third one was on April 26th. CSI. Hold on. Let me. Excuse me. Let me remove. As you can see there. Good. I just wanted to remove myself. You guys could see better. So April 19th, they sold 10,700. And then on April 21st, they sold two transactions, 10,700 and 600. And then on April 26th, they also bought or got 1 million shares with an X code because it doesn't share, but it's not a minus. So basically, they got 1 million shares, not sold or however way. But yeah, at CSI, the first two transactions were done on April 21st for 11,300 shares. Two transactions. Take your time, brother. But yeah, so maybe there was something that happened in those timelines or in those dates. But April 21st was the first true transactions. April 26th is when they got a million shares, which was a big upgrade to the 10,700. And again, those X codes have only been involved with AMC Common A shares stock, not with APE. So I found that interesting. Like, again, I want to know what that code stands for. I've seen some J's and some P's. And when the funny thing is, you'll see here the P stands for open market or private purchase of non-derivative or derivative security. So it could be on the market or not on the market, but they bought these shares basically. And then the J stands for accompanied by a footnote describing the transaction. So basically, whenever they did that transaction, there will be an explanation next to it with a footnote to explain what they did with that, how they got that, or what they did with it. So the funny thing is, I saw there's another code called G, which is gift, G for gift of securities by or to the insider. So imagine if, like, the company, I would have flipped my shit if I've seen like AMC give a gift to Antera or any of the because it just wants to give them gifts because they're an insider. I would have flipped my shit. So ever since April, they've been on, literally since the beginning of May, they have been doing nothing but winding down their position in APE. They haven't been adding. And you can see that right now. And they basically at some point had, and they still have a lot of shares. They started with, they were first going back and forth, buying some APE, selling some APE. I feel like they just wanted to do it all at once with one shot, one hit. So when they started in the beginning of May, they had about 155 million and 500,000 shares of APE. Up till now, they winded down all the way down to 139 million, roughly, and 122 shares. So they could technically say they sold about from in beginning of May till now till beginning of June. They've sold, you can say roughly around 14, 15, 16 million APE units. Okay, here's what I got. I went to the SEC filings for April 21st, but the closest thing I can find is the conversation with AA and Trey about the creation of Ape. Yeah, if you remember that date, CSI, I mean, again, it's a small thing, but big things have small beginnings, right? Like, I just want to know what this X, you know what, here, let's see if Google might know what does no, no mas. Institutional. Let's do it like this. Tell. These are all dot X. It's just weird. Don't you guys think that it's only involved with common stock? You know, there's no X that is, you know, ever reported with preferred stock or whatever, any transactions. Yeah, that's weird, brothers. Thank you, brother Frankie. Like I couldn't find it. I looked, I couldn't find. Maybe I got to look harder. Maybe we got to look deeper. But it's just weird, you know, that it just only happened with AMC shares. I mean, again, they went from offloading 10,700, then another 600, which is again laughable at the size of these firms and filings. But these two transactions on April 21st, April 19th and April 20th. That was their the filing date, and then like when to effect. Yeah, the trans day date was on April 19th and the 20th, and the filing date was on the 21st. So on the 20th and the 19th CSI, maybe that might strike a different thing, but so only they offload 11,300 here, and then 4 or 5 days later, 3 days later, they get 1 million shares of AMC stock, common shares. Now, their remaining value in total now for AMC and preferred equity common stock is basically roughly around 220 million, which again is extremely unbelievable when you think like one company puts that much into this? What if AMC was yanked off the trading platform? What if like an MMTLP situation, or what if AMC was taken off and Terra would be doomed? That's what tells me that this much money means this people and others are backing these people up, because the same people that worked here, this Vanessa Tanaka lady, I'm pretty sure she's probably a good person, who's the general counsel at Citadel, now worked at Wilk and Galahar, Wilkfar and Galahar, these people. Wilkie. It's she was the lead counsel there, then works for Citadel now, just in March when Antera first started really coming to light on AMC. And she works in Citadel. Those Wilk, where she worked, advises Antera. Antera is partnered, the CEO is partnered into a venture that is basically just bought that mansion from Ken Griffin. People who work here on the board are people that also somewhat or allegedly are related to the other law group, that Lighten and Finger, who's representing AMC's board, like Adam Aaron and co, like Kevin M. Galahar as well, in court. And they're like the biggest, technically, as the reports say, they're the biggest law group in Delaware, and they have so much connection and reach in the Chancery Court, and obviously in Delaware courts, and perhaps even know all the judges and the prosecutors, by personal relation, because they represent so many cases there, and they're just like the biggest guys there. They're the rock stars. So yeah, I have a feeling, CSI, that this Kevin guy right here is you probably would that would be amazing. You actually probably would end up having to meet or deal with this guy in some sort of deposition or something. But keep an eye for this guy, CSI, and see if obviously if there is some sort of like groupie behavior or some sort of like brownie points being given or whatever, or special treatments that are happening for this guy and his people, because this guy apparently, again, him and his law group, he's one of the directors. He's the person that's going to represent Adam Aaron and them. He's the big shit. He's the big pop, basically. And they're coming in because they already know everybody. They know where the restrooms are in the court. They know the name and where the judges go out for dinner and coffee. And apparently, when they put their hands on something, literally, these people are called rock stars. I didn't know that, CSI. I didn't know they ignored your objections. Wow. I mean, what can you say, right? That's crazy. Here's a thing I want to show you guys as well. Hold on. David Stevens I've put in financial terms by XX fifth letter, the NASDAQ stock symbol indicating that the listing is a mutual fund, X or XDS symbol that indicating the stock is trading X dividend with no dividend. That could be it. I want you guys to see this. So on May 9th, the SEC, and this went kind of under the rug, a lot of people, and it shouldn't have. The Securities Exchange, they charged Pinnacle Advisors. It's crazy because these guys are very close to Ohio here in Cincinnati. LLC, Robert F. I don't know how to say his name or whatever, Robert Kulch. Sorry to butcher the name. I know what that means to people. I don't like when people butcher my name. So apologies, Mr. Kulch. But I'm pretty sure that's the least of your problems. Benjamin Quality, Marky Wadak, and Lawton A. Williamson. They basically, all these people were involved in what the SEC charged them as an investment advisor and fund trustees with liquidity rule violations. Now, a lot of people are like, okay, this is just liquidity rule. No, it's not just any liquidity rule, because this is important. The SEC Commission on Friday charged investment Pinnacle Advisors LLC. There's other advisors like the Wilk and Farr people, and for aiding and abetting liquidity rule violations by mutual fund it advised, and whose liquidity risk management program is administered. The SEC also charged the fund's two independent trustees, Mark Wadak and Lawton Charlie Williamson, and two officers of both Pinnacle Advisors as well, and of the fund it advised. The action is the first ever case enforcing the liquidity rule, which prohibits mutual funds from investing more than 15% of their net assets in liquid investments. Now, you're going to ask me, what are liquid investments? We're getting to that. Requires basically funds. So the rule of the liquid investments requires the funds to take certain prompt remedial steps if they hold liquid investments above this percentage limit, and requires funds to adopt liquidity risk management program to assess their liquidity risk. So basically, illiquid means it's investments that you can't technically get rid of in a timely manner, or you're going to have a hard time disposing or selling. It could be multiple things. It could be options. It could be art. It could be houses like real estate. It could be so many different things that are going to be hard to sell very quick or get rid of your hand without also possibly exposing yourself a very, very, very steep loss. So sometimes what people do is, for example, they'll buy a house and they're like, okay, my wealth is there. The market always grows, but sometimes conditions could be the opposite. It could fall, and then your financial situation might be hurting. At meantime, as it's hurting, you would be forced to sell that house. But because of the market conditions, you're not able to sell the house because, like right now, what we're going through, the real estate market is in shambles. People are not buying for what the net value of the property is. So the property value is one thing, but what people are willing to pay is a whole other story. And now that person is forced, if they're really thirsty, in other layman terms, they would be forced to go ahead and sell for much less at a steep loss. They will dump the value just so they could have their hands on some cash, some money. So, yeah, David, that would be great. If you could call. If not, I would definitely call myself and ask what that is. But thank you. I got to bounce. Get ready to bring that drama to them. All right. Much love, brother. CSI. I'll probably most likely see you later tonight on your live. If you're doing, much love for being around. Thanks for the help, and like you said here above, hey Kevin. So you'll be dealing with Kevin pretty soon. I'm pretty sure you'll make good work. So yeah, so like the liquid, so basically they would be selling for much less, and that right there, since they had to take a loss at selling that property, that's recognized as a illiquid investment. It's an investment that you just can't easily on the go sell in 5 or 6 business days at least, even on the go. So the SEC complaint alleges that from June 2019 to June 2020, look how amazing these dates are. Conspiracy time. So somebody play the X-Files music in the background while this is happening. The fund held approximately 20 to 26% of its net assets in illiquid investments. So it could be a short position. It could be a put option. It could be art. It could be houses. It could be whatever. That's what those illiquid investments are. Now, what would make an option an illiquid option? So, and some of you brothers and sisters in here who trade options in here, if you buy options that are way far out of the money, believe it or not, that actually is considered an illiquid option. What is the illiquid option? Because it's so far out of the money, there is much less volume, much less open interest on it, which means if you were to see, this is why when you would go, again, this is for the people who trade options and especially knows like if they're buying options way, like, you know, down the line, especially if it's way far out of the money, especially if it's way, the expiration date is far, way later in the date. So like, example here, if people buy an option on XYZ stock for next year, it's due next year in 2020, June of 2020, and they buy a far out of the money option call or even put. Yes, the price is not there right now. But why is it considered an illiquid one? Because you'll see that the spread and the bid, like on the spread between the bid and the ask, is so high. It's a cool experiment. Go check it out. You don't have to buy anything or just look at it. You go to something on the options chain, that does any stock, and go far out of the expiration date and look at something that's far out of the money, you'll see one, volume is much less, rightfully so. The open interest will be also so much less than ones that are going to be due weekly or very short term. But more importantly, click on it and look at, like, you know, you don't have to buy anything. Like I said, again, just look at the bid and the ask. Look the spread between it, how far it is. At that point, people who buy these, is if the Greeks work with you or against you, you could see the mid price for something as something, but when you put it in, the bid could be so much less than what you're trying to sell it for. Then at that point, you'll have to play basically whoever's trying to buy, or if you're the one who's trying to buy, whoever's going to drop from the ask to sell to you at that price. So it's interesting to know that. Oh, welcome back, Girl Like Rod. I'm glad you charged it. Again, this is my first time back. I have to kill everybody's phones. It's only rightfully so that I, right? So that's what an illiquid option basically is, my people. So technically, let's look back on this date. Bring back the X-Files. June 2019 to June 2020. According to the complaint, Pinnacle Advisors and its officers, Kilch and Quality, classified the fund's largest illiquid investment as a less liquid investment. Look, this is what they got screwed for. So they held all these illiquid investments, which could have been major amounts of puts, shorts, art, whatever. Basically stacking money, freezing money, you know? God knows for what's going to happen, right? Look at these dates. And they changed them on the balance sheets as they were reporting. They changed these investments from illiquid and they marked them as less liquid investments amongst inside the mutual fund so that other officers or whatever can't report it, right? Well, guess what? Ignoring restrictions, transfer limitations, and the absence of any market for shares. So like they didn't even give a shit. They just did what they did. Liquid investments piled up between 21 and 26% of its net assets on that. And this is why it's obviously either shorts or puts, in my humble opinion, because you'll see later for why they ended up charging them that. Because again, why would the SEC, somebody wants to harm themselves? Because a lot of people could understand this. If you don't know what the liquid investment is, you would first of all think that, oh my God, they're idiots. They just didn't know how to invest. Poor people. Why would the SEC hurt them or punish them? And we know how the SEC punishes people. Why would the SEC punish them for something very, that hurts them? Well, because it didn't hurt them. That's why they were ignoring all of this, all these, all the restrictions, transfer, limitations, and the absence of any market for the shares, and disregarding the advice of fund counsel and auditors. So even people within the mutual fund, giving them advice, certain officers were saying from the counsel and the auditors, like, hey, what are you doing here? This is against the liquidity rule. We can't have more than our 15% of the net assets of the company for the mutual fund invested into illiquid positions. What did they know that the rest of us public or the other officers didn't know between June 2019 and June 2020? What did they possibly know that made them ignore all of this, go against all the funds, do this, do that? Yeah, exactly, right? Gorilla Grodd, a slap on the ass and a little fee. No real punishments. And so like, what did these people in that mutual fund know between these particular dates? That's the question. That's the question that was going to happen between this and this date ahead of time. That's why they were freezing or dumping crazy amounts of almost literally over a quarter all the mutual funds net assets were frozen in those illiquid positions. Now the SEC, of course, here plays police officer, but in the same time, what do? In my humble opinion, cover up. Why is it cover up? Because they say that it's in all these liquid, like they know, that's why they punished them for. They know what they did, but they do not disclose exactly what their liquid investments are, which in my humble opinion is where the real meat and potatoes are in this whole story. Not share that, but that's what tells me that those were short positions or either major put positions on the market in general, because between these dates right here, June of 2019 and June 2020, it's wow. The market reopened back in June of 2020. That's when it reopened back from the restrictions and the shutdowns of the what. And one moment, let me see this right here. And let's see, where did we leave off right here? The SEC alleges that Pinnacle Advisors and its officers did not present the fund board with a plan to reduce the fund's illiquid investments to 15% or make required filings with the SEC as required by the liquidity. The complaint also states that Kukulch and Quality misled the SEC's Division of Investment Management about the basis of the fund's liquidity classifications. You know, this is stuff, guys, if any of you did, we would be doing 10 to 20 years in prison, like without any questions asked. The full force of the law and the feds and the FBI and the secret whatever archives and all that will come down on our asses for stuff like this. You know, they literally, this guy, this Kukulch guy, Kukulch guy, basically misled the SEC's Division of Investment Management on this. And it's similar to, I don't know how many of you guys in here have seen the movie BlackBerry. I thought it was really cool how the CEOs, like there was a moment when not the inventor, but the other guy, the very investor, you know, the investors guy, the very vulgar guy, what was his name? I forgot. His partner basically was flying on planes, whatever. He went to one of those Google techs. He basically backdated. That was one of the best parts of that movie. Backdated the offer of $1 million in notes to the beginning of BlackBerry. So they basically, technically, they're getting shares. Like his offer to that executive with Google to lure him over to BlackBerry to work for BlackBerry was basically, it's like giving him an offer that he gave him 6 years ago, but he gave it to him today at the prices of 6 years ago. So therefore, it's like giving him or what was 1 million back then. Of course, the Google Tech took it. That's what they got investigated for and stuff. Funny thing is, none of these people, these high circles, do any time or anything. They just, okay, you go your way, you go our way, blah blah blah. The SEC takes a board seat on BlackBerry. We're good, and everybody moves on. You know, you go enjoy your riches. Go enjoy your riches. Blah blah blah. No 10 to 20 years in federal prison and all that stuff. According to the complaint, the fund's board and oversight responsibilities regarding the fund's liquidity risk management program, Waddock and Wilson, who knew that the shares were restricted and illiquid, aided and abetted the fund's violation by recklessly failing to exercise reasonable oversight of the fund's program. So this is how I can show you guys that this, like, why would, again, let's get back to this. Why would the SEC punish someone for harming themselves if they were sadly didn't know how to invest or they made bad decisions? No, they're being obviously punished here because the SEC wants to take its slick profits. Because let's go right here. Going deeper. That's the same case right here. Look in small writings so that nobody can read it, but don't worry, I'll zoom in so everybody can read it. We all can read it. So the same case, as you can see, charges against an investment advisor for aiding and abetting violations of Rule 2E-4 under the Investment Company Act of 1940. And it's basically Liquidity Risk Management Program, the LRMP, it administered. So what did they get punished? What did Pinnacle and advisors and those trustees, these officers, get punished with? Look at this right here. Available at blah, blah, right here. So Pinnacle Supernote 1, an affiliate of the advisor, settled separate charges for making false and misleading statements in Form ADV procedures and delivered to clients required information about advisory personnel. The order required the affiliate to pay disgorgement. Remember that word, people? You remember that word from one of the previous videos I made, of $83,000 and $462. prejudgment interest of $11,874, and a civil penalties of $393,000 and $381. Pinnacle Investments release, blah 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 blah. And you see here as well, Joseph Masila. This is one of the executives, because the people are the trustees, the people that got caught as well on the side, without admitting. Look at this. This is always what happens. This person, without admitting or denying the SEC findings, so that basically is like pleading the fifth in their world. The trustee consented to an order requiring him to cease and desist from violations of the liquidity rule and pay civil penalty of $20,000. Of course, he's not denying, but at the same time, he's not admitting, but he still wants to pay $20,000, which is a slap on the wrist for what he gained, right? Which we don't know exactly how much they profited off of that. That's why I say that the SEC is playing the role of a police officer slash. I just want to make it look like I'm playing police officer, but at the same time, I'm not gonna snitch to the whole world. I'm not gonna do my job and show them exactly what this criminal did. Because if a criminal goes to court, normally in court, all your business is put out. The judge goes through all that. Everybody in there knows what's up. In this case here, they put 21 to 26% of their net assets in that mutual fund without anybody knowing exactly what that represented and what, how, and how much, and how much did they make profits. You telling me that you charged them $83,000 and in discouragement fees? You want to tell me that all this that they did, they risked their own licenses and their careers and all, because the discouragement is basically the equivalent value of how much you made profits from the BS that you did. That's what discouragement is. So if these people were charged $83,000, so basically that mutual fund profited $83,000. Does not make any sense that it did all this illegal crap so it can make a profit of 83 grand. So that's what tells me here is like, okay, I'm the lookout. That's what the SEC to me feels like or looks like always. They're the lookout that, hey, do what you do, you rob this bank, and then you know what? Pay out. At a later date, we'll settle our, we'll split our profits in other cases. Again, this is just the way I see it, because these people did this knowing they ignored everything. They went ahead and piled up to 26% of their mutual funds assets and froze them in this illiquid positions. And this is why, again, these are either short positions or put positions in this case, because again, if it was art, possibly, but again, they're in the financial market. So how did the SEC find the art? Oh, in the transactions. Okay. And then were they able to, since they charged them the $83,000 in discouragement, that means what? By June of 2020, from June 2019 to June 2020, in June 2020, they were able to sell the art, if it was art or houses. Makes no sense, right? It just, you can't. So they basically made their profit. This was a hit after on the wrist by the SEC, a slap. And most likely it was in this. Most likely it was in puts or calls, or short positions against the markets. See, here is even more. See, Under 2016 liquidity rule, advisors cannot invest more than 15% of an open-end fund's asset in such securities. Illiquid securities are those that cannot be sold in 7 calendar days or less without changing the investment market. Which is, in other words, it's like if it either dumps or changes significantly within those 7 days, you can't sell it, and you're having a hard time selling it. That's basically what those liquid investments are. The NYSE funds illiquid assets include private placements of a company that the fund purchased between 2007 and 2019. Such shares could not be readily liquidated under the terms of purchase. The SEC charged Pinnacle and Fund's president and portfolio manager Robert Uklich and the fund's compliance and finance chief Benjamin Quality and independent directors Williamson, which was what you exactly heard. The securities were illiquid, therefore recklessly failed to reasonably oversee them. The commission alleged, basically. So here, the director, Joseph Masila, paid $20,000 for intentionally misclassifying certain investments in the NYSE fund as less liquid than they should be, which obviously goes against the 2016 rule. And however, it took until June 2020 for an unidentified, look how, wow, what a coinkydink. It took until June 2020 for an unidentified fund director to file the appropriate form with the SEC informing it that the fund breached the 15% threshold outlined under the liquidity rule. So basically, June 2019, massive freezing, like massive loading up on whatever these positions are, most likely puts and shorts, and for whatever event that they thought that was going to happen. And then it took them until just 1 year exact, June of 2020, to get an unidentified director, file their appropriate form with the SEC, forming it that the fund breached the 15% threshold. And obviously, what do we know that happened in June of 2020? That's basically when the markets reopened to trade, especially the financial markets and the stock market, to retrade. But the entire like businesses and the economy was reopened after the 3-month layoff or shutdown because of the identified virus of origins. The fund was liquidated in September 2020, the complaint noted, and the assets are held in trust. And then the SEC has settled with an affiliate, Pinnacle Investments, ordering the dual registrant with $814 million in assets pay $476,000 in disgorgement penalties. So Pinnacle also had to get punished, and they paid with basically $476,000, $450,000 roughly, in disgorgement fees from the profits, because disgorgement is when you make profits. It's not when you make losses, it's when you make profits. So they got charged almost $500,000 in fees for profits. So they went through all of that to make $500,000 when they have an asset, like they have a net worth of $814 million net assets. Why would they risk $500,000? Again, the numbers don't add up there. So that's what shows me there is that they made a lot more money. This $476,000 just represents the tip amount for the SEC. Sorry, SEC, I just had to do it. Of course, Pinnacle Investment couldn't be reached for a comment. Now, this is the only case that was provided for the liquidity. Like the crazy part here is that there is so many that can definitely my house on the line for this, that are all implicated under this, especially within that same time frame. Because I know there was a lot of lawmakers that went ahead and actually gotten their either loaded up on shorting the market, knowing that it was going to shut down, or sold their positions out of their positions, kind of like they were given a window to jump out of with all their wealth and investment before the market took 2020. I feel like there was things that I wanted to cover, so but I don't. Does anybody have any questions? I know you guys want to make it welcome him back to come back in a way for a while. Oh, here's a liquid option, just so you guys will see what I was talking about earlier. And a liquid option is an option contract that cannot be easily sold or converted to cash quickly at the prevailing market price. A liquid option, hold on to their contracts until they expire. Hold on to their contracts until they expire, basically. So that's a may, but the fact that you most likely, and the option traders would know what I'm talking about. Sometimes if the price is not there yet, the Greeks are still working, the expiration is not there yet, and you're operating, there's many scenarios where this could work like this, but the most people know this scenario that I'm about to say. Expiration is in that week, on that Friday, it's Thursday, whatever expiration date on a call is, like you have a call strike price of $50 at $5 on AMC. AMC is at $4.50 or $4.46 or 67 cents. There's a day left. Majority of that option have most likely lost its value, depending on when you bought it. But if you bought it like a week in advance, most likely that option have at that point is like about 88 to 90% lost of its value, and there's only 10% left. Now, here's where the crazy part goes in. When they try to sell it throughout market hours, the next day on Friday, let's say it's worth only $1 left, or many people refer to them as cents. Bought it for whatever, 10, 15 cents, just $15, 10. Sell it for just to get that $1 back option. You might not even the ability for that, because obviously the Greeks saying it's 95% of it is lost, 98% of the value of the option is lost. However, no one is going to be bidding on this because it's a losing option. You could tell that it's going to expire worthless. And this is why it's important to always understand the Greeks, to understand that the set of an option trader, not that I'm giving anybody like advice or telling people to go trade options, anything, but it's important to understand. What if somebody out there wants to hear this? My job is, or my thing is not to tell people obviously what to do, because I don't tell anybody what to do. My thing is to tell people what perhaps they might want to. So like nobody is going to be basically bidding on that option at all. Be left, even if it's the value of it is $1, just want to take the bare minimum, is willing to bid for that, and it's going to most likely expire worthless. And key takeaways here is you can see liquid options cannot be easily or quickly sold or converted into cash. Liquidity refers to how easy it sells the asset to cash prices. Liquid options may or have very low or no open interest, therefore may be best held until expiration, as I was telling you earlier. And here you can understand even more. Options can be illiquid when they are far away from their expiration date. So that's what I was telling you about earlier. So for that mutual fund, they were doing is, this is why this is the most relevant possibility, because the SEC didn't share what those 26% investments in. This is how we do our detective work. This is how I know it's in put options, because it can't be in calls. If it was in calls, they would have been like, they would have been crucified already. Nobody would be giving them discouragement. Discouragement is from making money. So if they made calls from, if they froze 26% of their assets in calls from June 2019 to June 2020, then sorry, I was listening here. I was talking about some food upstairs. I heard her calling names. So smell is killing me, so I gotta go soon. But yeah, so like if they were on the call side, you know, from June 2019 to June 2020, they didn't make any money. You know that calls meant doomsday because the market crashed in those times. So it had to been inputs because they made profits. If it was calls, they wouldn't have made profits, and therefore they wouldn't have been hit with discouragement fees. You know, they would have just been hit with penalty for, why did you do this? Why did you lie to us and purposefully mislead us about freezing, going against the liquidity 15%? Since they made profits, that's why there was something, discouragement fees. Made profits, which means the only thing they froze and was puts. Far out of money puts, perhaps shorts, but most probable cause here is major puts. So they put 26% of their mutual fund assets up to in basically far out of the money puts, which is these illiquid options right here. Market dumps magically 6 months later between those time frames. Then next thing you know, randomly some way, somehow, is that randomly some unknown executive or director in June 2020, the government, the SEC, and the rest of the mutual fund, hey, guess what? You know, you're over your 15% limit. It was not anymore this you know, like this like they're no longer not listening to that anymore, because at that point the profits were made, the job was done, damage was done, and now they're willing to come down to split the profits with their number one protector. All right, people. Does anybody have any questions? Tomorrow I'll come back to you guys. More things to talk about, like, you know, updates on AMC. Another thing I want to, before I leave here, I have to leave about AMC. Besides all what we saw as far as Antara, we put out so much today, like, so just to bring it all back in. Looking at AMC, one thing I will say, guys, there's so much that happened outside of our circle as far as with GME, especially as of late. They had not a very good, terrible, and again, I've always been one of the most biggest advocates of the idea that fundamentals matter, but trading of shares also matter, because that is the market is the market, business is the business. Those two can correlate. However, they're two different things. The amount of shares here, and we know this is why we're in this whole pile mess of synthetics and why the price each share is where it's at now. Nevertheless, CEO Furlan gets fired or let go, and you got Ryan Cohen now being chief executive of the board, and now that basically he's in to fix. They've gotten out of Ireland. They've closing down many stores so that so they can bleed less. Basically, that's basically people happen everywhere. Apple is Any employees, Amazon layoffs, Microsoft layoffs, so many people. In the same time, this is how this links over to AMC. When you see the volume AMC that has been for the last month, where it's at, way below its averages. Our average used to be over 30 million a day. Even at these weird ranges of sometimes 8, sometimes 7, sometimes 9, sometimes 14. When the volume dries up, there's always something that is to be known. I'm not gonna say we're pumping tomorrow. It's always before a big move, either to the upside or the downside, the volume dries up. Level that we're at right here, we could possibly be sent right back down a little bit more. The dip before the rip, or I guess what people call it. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'll tell you, when the volume dries up, big moves are followed by that sentiment. So whether it's to the upside or the downside, real soon, expect something major shake things up and happen. Because tomorrow, personally, I think if I could do a live, I don't know if I could do it on a Friday. If I could do a live, I want to talk about the state of the market. What people like Ray Dalio and them say. What is like people like Bill Gates having to, suddenly, magically, right before the scandal of Bud Light and, the situation with Bud Light, everybody knows about it. What did Bill Gates went and piled in $1 billion into Heineken, an investment. Magically, before the Bud Light situation happened, somebody knows something, or somebody ignited something to get something so that their investment can. People like Ray Dalio telling you, that we're in the biggest last marks of the biggest stages of the crack, which means there's a huge event that is happen, a huge bubble that is looking to bust within these next few months. So with that being said, family, see that we don't have any questions. Please show the love live. I'm so happy that I was able to come back, see all of you guys, and do this again. It's not everyday kind of thing where I get to make lives. I was away for a while, so it almost feels like I'm getting cheesy now. I know it, but you guys are a very big and crucial part of my life, because I formed a family, and I am one of those people. I just can't forget these strings once they're formed. I don't get over stuff easy or people easy, and when I form a family, I'm very, very, very protective entity. So I want to stand up for my and love people, because I'm overprotective. We're a family, and that's what we're supposed to do. And then I got over here, like Gorilla Grodd. That gets so annoying. Funds makes say 3 mil illegally, but get fined 300K. Told stop that. At the same time, never admit guilt. Yeah, right. You got another hour of work. I need you to stream for another hour, brother. You can do it. Gorilla Grodd. Sorry, brother. I have to go. It's officially almost 10 minutes. It'll be 3 hours. More than what I bargained for. I definitely need to go and eat something. I haven't eaten all day. For some odd reason, I'm no longer, in a way, I'm not as hungry, because I'm back with family in the rightful place. But we have to talk about the state of the market, because we are in it, and we have to stay strong, even with all the noise, even in this live. Everything that I've covered, like as far as against Bulls, against Adam, down with AMC, down with my apes, down with all the people and all that stuff, that does not, that we're not all as like one family. Even if I disagree with any of you in here, yes or no, and you disagree with, we're still all, family members disagree with each other all the time. Siblings, go against each other, not agree with each other all the time. However, it doesn't take away their love for each other and the fact that are all we have to support each other. So I need you as much as you need me. And no one can use that as leverage over the other, because at the end of the day, the common interest is the same, unless you want the downfall of this great movement or this great, stock investment. I love you all. I love you too, Gorilla Grodd. Send my regards to your beloved, please. And I can't wait for Baby Grodd to be amongst us. Probably the freshest ape. Who knows? Maybe time that Baby Grodd comes around, maybe that already would have squozen or reason why we would squeeze. So either I'm very happy with. That's a smart coworker. And they're very fortunate to have you as a person to coach them and teach them that, Gorilla Grodd. So I'm just messing with you people. I'm not going to leave you on a cliffhanger like this. I'm going to close it the way that it rightfully should be. Love you all. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Out on live on an updated video. Much love, AB Investments.